Number one, arms race. Putin will be building tanks and rockets. That's obvious. Arms race. Number one. Number two, international isolation. Russia will be excluded from G8. Big problems between Russia and the EU. Very big problems. I'm sure about it. That's why there will be sanctions. Any Russian business is politics. That's why it'll hit the business. And finally, when Russia is surrounded by so-called enemies, then within the country, they will increase pressure, xenophobia, hatred of all other people, and they will increase authoritarian and dictatorship trends. I think Putin doesn't understand words. What can stop this man? I think only Russian people can stop him. If there will be silent support, he'll send boys to the front, they come back mutilated, and they'll die. Putin did everything to make Ukraine an enemy. This big number of brainwashed people we have in Russia because of TV tower work. And why Putin is fighting in Ukraine, it's more or less clear. Number one, everything he does within the country and outside of the country are intended to realize his main goal, to keep the power at any cost. And he wants to do it forever because he committed a crime sending their active armed forces, sending them to Ukraine. Secondly, it should be understood that he is avenging Ukraine for anti-criminal revolution that they had in Ukraine, and he's avenging Ukrainians to prove Russians that this way of dethroning a dictator, or not even dictator, maybe just a corrupted official, he's not going to stand. And another reason why he's fighting with Ukraine is that he sees a huge threat for himself in Ukrainian European choice. Because European choice in Ukraine means democracy, direct elections, this is change of power, and rule of law. All this contradicts this individual rule he wants to have, this police state, lawlessness and corruption. He wants to create a puppet state that he calls Novorossiya. Right now, the bridgehead that he took over, this is Lugansk and Donetsk regions, then his second task is to break through to Crimea, and that's why they're preparing offensive on Mariupol, and recently they took over Novozovsk. Besides that, they want to get Kherson and Zaporizhia, and then they'll have big problems. They're having big problems there, so no sanctions will stop that, but people who will go on the streets will stop the war. I'm saying because I'm a patriot of my country, because I'm against the war. I don't want coffins of our dead boys coming to Moscow, to Nizhny Novgorod, to Yaroslavl, so that our mothers, wives and children were crying. I don't want this. I believe that we have no right to act like this towards a friendly country, towards our neighbor. I've been thinking for a while what arguments Putin has to act like that. Any arguments. The very simple answer is, he is just a sick person. He is psychologically sick person. And then I thought, no, he's not just a sick person. He's also cynical and villainous person. He wants to use this operation of annexing Crimea. He wants to rule us forever. We have to say no to the war. We have to say enough of this nonsense and madness. We have to say Russia and Ukraine without Putin. Our prospects are very simple. We either manage to dismantle Putin's regime and bring country back to people's ruling and rights of people, or Russia will not exist anymore. That's the whole prospect we have. Russia will break into pieces, people will be killing each other. If you want to change something, fight. If you're afraid of going to the street, write something on the internet. If you're afraid of writing something on the internet, then whisper something to your wife's ear. Do something, each of you. Things that you're not afraid of. Political demands, key demands, are very simple. This is an immediate stop of the war with Ukraine. And you know that a year ago, Putin started the aggression against Ukraine. Putin, by annexing Crimea, he breached a numerous number of international commitments of Russia, and the key one is the commitment that is written in Budapest Memorandum. And by the way, I would like to underline it's quite a serious memorandum about the non-nuclear status of Ukraine. And in 1994, Russia signed this memorandum saying that if Ukraine won't be a nuclear power and will remove nuclear warheads from its territory, Russia will respect Ukrainian sovereignty and territorial integrity. By annexing Crimea, Putin crossed out our commitments and he breached international system of nuclear non-proliferation. It's a crime. Besides that, he stomped on an important agreement of cooperation between Russia and Ukraine. And the second article of this agreement was saying that Russia guarantees territorial integrity of Ukraine, and in exchange of that, Ukraine provides Russia a lease for a military base in Sevastopol. And this agreement was signed till 2042. It was prolonged to 2042. And nobody was touching that base, so there were no any issues with that. And it's all lie that NATO wanted to go there. It's 100% lie, and that can be substantiated with everything. Boris, what you're saying is right, but this overwhelming hatred and this bloodthirst that they're flooding the society with, it's only the war that did it. And what they do on TV, they kind of pump it up. I agree with you 100%. And on this, he's keeping his power, on this hysteria, on this brainwashing. And it's not only he's keeping the power, by fueling hatred towards Ukrainians, he's recruiting a huge number of naive people who are dying there. You know, you can't rationally explain hysteria. He turned TV station Ostankino into recruitment points. If you ask relatives of those who die in the war, you ask them why your brother, your husband, or your friend went to the war, and they will tell you that he saw on TV that Ukraine was taken over by Nazis. He saw how they crucified a Slavic boy there, how those Bandera group gangsters, they are selling organs of the captives. So it's done very cynically, and by fueling hatred, they're throwing these naive people to death, using them as cannon fodder. And they do it so that these naive people would go there to be killed. And by the way, Putin doesn't have any legal liability for that, because he doesn't pay those 3 million rubles to those soldiers who died. Just imagine 1 hour debates of myself and Putin, and let's start with a simple question: why Russian soldiers are dying there, and you, as Supreme Commander-in-Chief, you're abandoning those soldiers, and you're lying that they're not fighting there? But we see graves of those soldiers. We can see these graves in Kostroma city, in Pskov and Nizhny Novgorod, where I used to work as a governor. So why you, as a Supreme Commander-in-Chief, why are you abandoning your own soldiers? Do you have a right to be a Supreme Commander-in-Chief? Why are you lying that we don't have our weapons there? So just look in the Minsk Accords, and you actually stated there yourself that Tornado S that will be removed from there. Do you know this is MLS system, that only Russia has them? And Russia started using them only in 2012, and actually wrote it in the Minsk Accords. It should be an open, normal position. And when people hear this point of view, this 86% of support that he has would be gone. And exactly because of that, they don't allow opposition to be on TV. Because people will see that everything is based on lie. And this is where all those ratings come from. And when people realize that, this power will be destroyed. The main anti-corruption demand is that all famous corruption cases that were against all Putin cronies and all these gangster groups, all those famous cases should be investigated, and the corrupted should be brought to trial. So that's a serious demand. Also, we insist that Russian regions would get tax revenue according to how much taxes they collect. So not all money should go to the center. It should be decentralized. It should be 50-50, 50% to the federal budget and 50% to the local budget. And it's very well supported by the people, this demand we have. Also, we have a demand to increase education and healthcare spending. This is one of the most important demands, and we think it can be done by decreasing military spending. The thing is that military spending is increased by two-folds over the last 3 years. This is the budget is 3,300,000,000,000 rubles. Even comparing with 2014, it grew by 33%, and they abruptly decrease education and healthcare spending. Remember when the Ministry of Economy Silanov was saying there will be sequester, and they cut all spendings on science, on fundamental science, on sports, cinematography, education, healthcare, everything except for military. So motherland is in danger. Yes, right, especially when Putin is attacking the neighboring country. So in fact, it's quite a realistic thing to increase education and healthcare spending at the expense of decreasing military spending. I think it's possible. All these demands are quite realistic. On this date, 8 years ago, Boris Nemtsov was assassinated. He was killed right before the opposition march against the war in Ukraine. Together with him, real opposition died, and all the hopes for democracy died as well. And totalitarianism is progressing every day and every year. He was a great politician and a leader of opposition that we don't have today. The instigator of the crime is not found yet, but everybody knows who he is. Sadly, it's not the only victim of the regime, but none of the Russian politicians was paid so much respect. Every day somebody brings flowers to this bridge. Boris Nemtsov was killed with 4 bullets in his back in the center of Moscow, 100 meters from the Kremlin, on February 27, 2015.